Last one here is DeAndre Swift. So I'll just channel my inner Heath. I'll just make the devil's advocate case. Dave, you have him as a bust. DeAndre Swift this is another guy. ADP is really wildly different depending on where you go. On CBS, 70th overall, RB27. But on Fantasy Pros, 59th overall, RB21 for DeAndre Swift. And Football Guys is right in the middle, 24th running back off the board and 64th overall. Let's just call him RB24 and say he's about 64th, right? Football Guys is basically the average of CBS and Fantasy Pros. He has never finished. He stopped me if you heard this because Heath's been, banging this drum.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift has never finished lower than RB24 per game. Now it's been 3 years in a row where he's been basically RB23 or 24 per game. I think actually one of those years he had a lot of catches, so he was higher in PPR. But my other devil's advocate case is like, oh, you look at Swift. Oh, he wasn't good last year. He averaged 3.8 yards per carry. That was a career low. Roschon Johnson averaged 2.7 yards per carry, I think. His longest run was 9 yards, Roschon Johnson. So I don't think this was necessarily a Swift problem here. I guess my point is I think I agree with Heath on this one. I don't know how he does worse. How does DeAndre Swift have the worst year of his career when he's never been worse than RB24 per game? And he's left 4 or 5 seasons. He's left at least one game early with an injury. So how is this a bust case for a guy who's basically going at his floor?
I would agree that he's going pretty close to his floor, but to me, he's so unexciting. And I know that there is an opportunity. Obviously, Chicago went through the entire offseason, didn't do boo to improve their run game. It's going to be DeAndre Swift leading the way, but he's been basic 4 of the last 5 seasons. And yeah, that might mean 23rd or 24th at running back overall. And yeah, I guess you're drafting that right around 70th overall. That's not necessarily such a bad thing. That's good running back depth. That's a guy that you could potentially start each week as your RB2, assuming that you've got other good players at other positions on your team. Loaded at wide receiver, maybe you win hero RB. You get my point. He's never been consistently good. He's never really been a short yardage goal line guy. Past 5 years with 1 yard to go, short yardage situations, 50 carries, he's converted 32 of them. Inside the 5, 84 snaps over the last 5 years, 45 rushes, 17 touchdowns, 10 in 2024 with Chicago for 3 touchdowns. So, yeah, I guess we're drafting him pretty close to the floor. That's the type of player that I like to draft. But if I'm drafting a guy and I go, okay, I'm going to pencil him in for what he's been the past few years, that's 12.5 PPR points per game. There's going to be a voice in my head that says, I can find somebody better than that. I can find somebody with more upside than that. And I'm still going to assume that even though the Bears didn't add anything, they're going to share. He's going to have to lose some carries along the way because that's what we've seen from Ben Johnson's offenses in Detroit. He's not going to be a full-time workhorse. I'd be shocked if he gave him a bunch of short yardage goal line opportunities. And I'd be shocked if, I don't know, maybe he should be in the range for around 40 catches. Maybe that gets him close to 50 catches, and that would help him out, obviously. But he just hasn't been a great fantasy running back. If you're drafting him in round 6, though, I suppose I can't argue it that much.
Yeah, he is. DeAndre Swift is arguably the worst goal line or short yardage back in football, basically among regular running backs who get carries. So I definitely can't make that case for him.
Do you think his conversion rate would be so bad if he got those chances in Philadelphia behind that offensive line?
I mean,
I can look them up and tell you exactly what they were.
There's different ways to measure short yardage. David gave you some throughout his career, 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. I mean, it is so bad. And he wasn't the goal line back last year. Roschon was. So that's not going to be, I think, a big part of his game. But he does break big runs all the time. He's one of the most explosive running backs in football. It's like since he entered the league, the only guys with more carries of 35 or more yards than DeAndre Swift are, I want to say, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, and Saquon Barkley, something like that. Jamie, where are you on Swift?
Oh, I'm not as high as Heath is, but I do think that you're getting a very good player at this spot for sure, given his opportunity. Like we're sitting here and saying Caleb Williams got better, and DJ Moore might get better, and Rome Odunze is going to get better, and Colston Loveland's in this great spot, and Luther Burden's in this great spot, but DeAndre Swift sucks. and giving everybody else a pass for last year and not giving Swift a pass for last year. And I think the numbers you gave on Swift and Roshan sort of illustrate that. Like in a bad situation, he still was better than his competition. And that's what he's still competing with this year.
Now, I guess I guess I should be fair, Jamie, to Roshan. Like he only had 55 carries and a number of them were near the goal line. So that's not going to help your yards per carry, but go ahead.
True. But in any event, it was pretty awful for everything Chicago related last season. And as Dave pointed out, they did nothing. They drafted a 7th round running back, so there still could be Devin Singletary gets cut and they go get him, or somebody from Detroit's end of their roster, gets released. And that's something that Ben Johnson wants because of familiarity, so we don't know how this is all going to play out. But I think as we sit here right now, like you look at this list and Hampton starting, there, because I think the other guy's a little bit more proven, but like Hampton and who he's sharing with is obviously a very established guy as long as Najee Harris's health is okay. Montgomery's in a timeshare where he may be fading a little bit more as he gets older, and Jahmyr Gibbs is trending in the right direction. Trevion Henderson's going to share with Ramondre Stevenson. Like, you start to see all these competitions, and, he's the lead guy, Swift is. And yes, he hasn't had elite level production, but he's been, I think a little bit better than basic. So it's a fallback number 2 running back, I think, that you're looking at, as opposed to where like Heath is very aggressive in how he ranks him and drafts him. I would rather have Hampton, for example. I think Heath is the other way on that, so it's just a matter of, I think, where you're able to draft him. So with a hero RB or zero RB approach, he's one of my favorite players. With a, going running back heavy, I'm probably not taking DeAndre Swift.
Last in Philadelphia in 2023, he had 14 carries inside the 5. He had 4 touchdowns.
He had 6 carries that went to the 1 yard line. They were all followed up by Jalen Hurts push touchdowns. So he's had some bad touchdown luck in that season.
He even had 6 rushing touchdowns last year.
But I think the catches are actually a big thing for him because that was his specialty early in his career. And it hasn't really been the case the last few seasons.
He did that with the 1 year of Ben Johnson.
Yeah, you're right. Now they got obviously the added target competition, but even if he is not really having any competition, DeAndre Swift has never averaged more than 15 carries per game. So he's kind of Aaron Jones-like in that. I feel like the most you could expect would be 250, 260 carries.
He did have that one stretch in Philadelphia, though.
Well, he had that game against Minnesota where he had like 27 carries or something because they were playing 6 men in the box or whatever. But for a season, he's never averaged more than 15 per game. He probably needs 40 catches. I wouldn't say needs, but that'd be nice.
He averaged 5 targets per game in Detroit in 2022.
Yeah, that's great.
Now, he's averaged right around 3.1 each of his prior 2 seasons, Chicago, Philadelphia, 2 offenses that didn't necessarily throw to their running backs a ton. If that's going to be a Ben Johnson staple and they're going to lean on him in the pass game, then A, we've got to rethink a little bit about some of those peripheral pass catchers in Chicago. And B, then we're definitely underrating DeAndre Swift. It's possible he can get back there. Can't say it's not. That would help Heath's case.